Hey everyone, this is Sam, and we're back here for another climbing the rating ladder video. Today I was watching some John Bartholomew, as I've been a fan of his for about 10 years. So I'm really in the mood for a Scandinavian. So if we get the black side of an E4 position, I think I'm going to go with a Scandinavian. I've been experimenting with it and kind of got clobbered, but now I've been getting a little bit better with the theory. But we won't get a Scandinavian. Instead, we'll get a D4 opening. Alright, so knight to F6. I'm going to be flexible and play knight F3. Tristan, your friend, and they got a spooky mask. They play G6, getting ready to fianchetto their bishop. So I think it only makes sense to play C4, gaining some space. As you can see, my rating has fallen a little bit from the 2100s to, I think I was in the 2100s, at least I was in the 2000s. I've been kind of getting clobbered lately in my games due to just really poor opening play and then some really bad blunders. So I'm going to try to be extra solid in this game. Bishop D7, getting prepared to castle. Now play knight C3, developing my knight, and this will enable E4 in the future. So if they allow me to play that, I will. Now here they kind of get to decide whether they want to play Grunfeld with D5 or if they want to play a King's Indian defense with D6. And they go for a Grunfeld. Which I think is kind of more difficult to face than the King's Indian defense. I think the Grunfeld is a little bit harder for white. But I like to play the Russian variation here. I'm going to play Queen B3, just defending my pawn with the queen. And I just keep everything as is, developing my queen here. Kind of the idea is I still want to get in E4 in the future. Now almost all the time they play D takes C4, and I'll play queen takes C4, but there are other moves here. But simply I am threatening to take that pawn. That's kind of the other idea with queen b3 is it's a little bit of a counterattack. I'm defending my attack pawn, attacking their pawn back, so usually they'll take. And the Russian variation is by no means rare, but it's a little bit less common, so that's maybe why they were pausing there. So they take the castle. And why we like the Russian is because we get to have this big center with E4. So my queen's up in the center of the board, possibly vulnerable to being tickled by some pawns or minor pieces later, but I have a big center. C6. So this is menacing b5, hitting my queen, driving me off. And I'm wondering if I want to play a4. I think a4, b5, a takes. I don't see anything terrible with that. It's a little bit, if you will, greedy to be taking space when I'm behind in development, but I think it's a useful move and I don't see anything terribly wrong with it. So I'm going to play a4. But I like the Grunfeld opening as, I like to face it. It's very interesting. It's kind of like, to me, you get flavors of the King's Indian defense, and you get flavors of, like, the Queen's Indian defense in a way. Yeah, and so here, this is what I meant about them tickling my queen. They bring their bishop out to a cute square, but it makes sense because they're attacking my queen with tempo. So there's not a ton of squares that I would go to. I think probably just b4. Let's see, does d5 work? I have queen, pawn, knight on there, and then I have too many defenders, so d5 is not possible. I think I'll play here, getting my queen out of the view of their bishop and counterattacking on b7. But broadly speaking, I want a castle. So probably my next move, all things being equal, is bishop to e2, so that I can castle. I don't want to get into a dangerous center situation with my king still in the center. I got Tristan thinking a little bit, which is good. I think we're both a little bit new to this position. I've had this position a few times, but I don't face many Grunfelds. So it's always a privilege and an honor, Grunfeld players, when you want to play me. Okay, queen there. Being flexible. Defending the pawn. I kind of suspected they would play queen b6, but this is more flexible. So like I said, all things being equal, I'll just develop my bishop. Okay, rook d8. Getting the rook on the half open file. Pressuring my pawn, but it's sufficiently defended by my knight and queen. So I think I'll go ahead and castle, get my king to safety. And pretty soon I'll move my bishop, my dark squared bishop out, my rooks will be connected, and I'll be all developed. And I'll be happy with my big center. Oftentimes in the Grunfeld defense, white will get a big center, but black will have a lead in development, and white has to kind of catch up and make sure their center doesn't collapse, or make sure their king just doesn't get attacked too early. But I'm all safe now. Candidate moves in the future. I might play h3, preempting bishop e3. so that a knight could not harass the bishop on e3 with knight g4 later. So probably h3 might be my next move, all things being equal, because I would like to play bishop e3, but it could get harassed with knight g4. All right, more important matters. My queen is attacked, and I saw this move coming. Gotta move my queen here. My queen has very few options. So I think almost certainly the best option is queen a3, which is pretty awkward, but it's better to be passive and awkward than active and unsafe. I don't want to get my queen too far into their position. So I'm going to back up. And then think about playing h3 on my next move. That would be a multi-purpose move. It allows my king some air in case of any future back rank hazards. So they play knight a6, connecting their rooks, developing their knight, and likely planning on bringing it to b4, which would be quite a sensible move. Although, and when they do that, they would actually be threatening a fork on my queen and my rook on c2. So I have to address that. I wish I could play bishop to e3, knight b4, rook a to c1, stopping the fork and just getting that rook to an active square. But again, they have the knight g4 issue, which the problem with knight g4 is that when it hits, it also unveils a discovered attack on my d-pawn with their fianchetto bishop. So the position is getting slightly sharp here. But so what I want to do is I want to play rook a c1, just completely get out of the fork, defend c2, and get that rook active. I want a good square for my bishop. But I might have to settle for now with d2 and then later go to e3 after I've played h3. Sometimes you can just do that. It's okay to develop to a decent square and then later transfer to a more ideal square. I'm just seeing if there's any issues with bishop d2. I don't think so, because it is protected by my knight. So I'm going to play bishop d2. It's not ideal. I wanted to play bishop e3, but I haven't had a chance to play h3 yet to safely enable bishop e3. So if they play knight b4 threatening knight c2, attacking my queen and my rook, I would have played rook ac1, but they go here, so now they're threatening bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, rook takes d5, excuse me, rook takes d4. So now this actually gives me an opportunity to play bishop e3 like I wanted, because they have the g4 square covered with their own piece, so they can't play knight g4. So they bring their knight in, threatening the fork, so I'm going to get out of that fork. and bring my rook opposite their queen. So I'm actually kind of liking my position, even though it's getting a little bit sharp and they're kind of throwing the punches. I'm able to respond well each time. So when you have to kind of like contort yourself and when you have to make unappetizing moves, that's when you kind of don't like them having an initiative. But it's okay for them to have an initiative if you're still able to make appetizing moves. Bishop d2 is not the worst move ever. It's just slightly passive. Rook c ac1 is something I already wanted to play. And I keep emphasizing rook ac1 because you can see the rook on f would probably like to do something else. Maybe going to e1 or d1, whereas the rook on a1 likely wants to go to c1. It gets out of the fork, it gets opposite their queen. It's just a generally active square because it's a half open file. So now I have them thinking, which is good because they had a little bit of a momentum on the clock and on the board, and now both I think are dissipating. A good move for them, I think, kind of a clever move might be bishop f8. Just kind of getting opposite my queen all the way on this long diagonal. I might have to play something awkward like queen a1, where my queen would be absolutely banished to the corner. I don't know if it's like the best move, but it's an interesting move. I think I've seen something like it before. But they play knight d7, unveiling their bishop on g7, so they're still pressuring my pawn. And they're thinking about possibly playing e5. Although I'm not sure if e5 is a good move for them because that could be leading to the position opening with their queen opposite my rook. So I think I'm going to play a move I kind of wanted to play anyways, which was my other rook into the center, just remaining cohesive and active. I'm actually quite liking my position. There's nothing crazy that I have except for my large center, but sometimes a big center is all you need to get some kind of just a little something to work with. We'll see how it develops here. It all depends on how black attacks my center, on what I can do with my extra pawn in the center. So next move I might play, I should also note that I have knight b5 in my pocket because they can't take with c takes b5 without just blundering rook takes c7, blundering their queen. So I have that in my back pocket. It doesn't do anything yet, I don't believe, but I should be aware of it, that their c pawn is pinned to their queen horizontally. So my next move might be h3, just gaining a flight square for my king, attacking their bishop, and trying to see if they'll give me the bishop pair, because their light squared bishop is pretty awkward. It did get a tempo on my queen there early and made my queen very awkward, but I think that sometimes it's better to have an awkward queen than it is to have an awkward minor piece, because the minor pieces are they play a more integral role in the opening. So they get out of the C file, which makes a lot of sense. And now I think I'll make myself a flight square, ask their bishop what they want to do. Okay, great. So now I have two bishops in a large center, and they immediately strike with e5. Now if I play d takes e5, knight takes e5, that just doesn't look like I'm doing anything for myself. I think that would be kind of letting their d knight into the center, and it'd be getting rid of my space. So I'm actually thinking about just playing d5 here. Gaining more space, and that would be a passed pawn. I'm going to play d5. I've got so much coverage on that square. I have my e-pawn, my bishop, my knight, my rook. They take. Now I could take with my knight. I think taking with a knight is probably a good idea. Knight takes, because then I'm attacking their pretty strong knight on b4. And if they played knight takes d5, I could take in a multitude of ways. If I took with the rook, again, that's probably not the most ambitious, but if I take with the pawn, then I have that protected passed pawn. Yeah, so I think taking with the knight here is strong. Attacking their knight. Knight takes, pawn takes. And my position is quite secure. I don't have many weaknesses in my position at all. My queen is getting more air, and I have a passed pawn with two bishops. But they go there. Knight f6, potentially threatening e4, which would disconnect my bishop's view of the pawn. So I think probably I'll play d6, getting out of the way, pushing that pawn another step forward. And it can be defended by my bishop in a lot of cases. I think that's probably the right move. I'm considering about bishop b6. Bishop b6 might be interesting. But I think this, well, let's see, if I play d6 and they play bishop f8, am I losing that pawn? Because I don't want to lose the pawn at all. Let me get my queen over to a more active square and defend the pawn that way. Yeah, because I didn't know if that was the best move or not. So they quickly play a flight square. And now let's see here. I wonder about playing g3 to keep my bishop on this long diagonal. That seems like a smart move here. g3. Yeah, so if they play e4, I can back my bishop up. I have to be slightly quick on the clock. I might preemptively play bishop g2 on the next move. Just getting the bishop to a safe square, guarding g3, being ultra protective of my king, even though my king is pretty safe. But I'm just getting a little bit low on time. But I'm liking my position. I have 2 bishops. I have that passed pawn. So overall, I think I have a very solid position here. I just have to be vigilant. So they go there, potentially wanting to double eventually. Protecting their B pawn. Like I said, let me play kind of fast here. My pawn is protected 3 times right now. Because that's my main asset. Although the bishops are really strong. I'd say possibly my main asset is the bishops, but the pawn is a close second. Because if you see these bishops, they're just killing black on the diagonal. It's hard for them to move anywhere without getting hit by bishops. Alright, it's queen there, so now they're attacking my pawn again. Although this might get hit with this one attacking their queen. Queen goes there. And I might play bishop f1, threatening bishop b5, landing a fork on the rook and their, or a, whatever that is, skewer, fork, pin, some kind of tactic on that pawn. I might do that because my d pawn is defended twice, hard to attack again. So this looks like a good move, and this is what I mean. These bishops are going to kill in a wide open position. So I'm at 5 minutes. As long as I stay above 2 minutes, I can rest easy. And if I get below 2 minutes, I'll just pick up the pace a smidgen. But right now, I'm threatening bishop b5. I'm getting them to think a little bit. They have to be very careful, which is good, because these bishops are slicing everywhere. Interesting. They play... I don't understand that move. So e5, e4, bishop b5, attacking the rook. It's hard to say. So I guess maybe they want to get their knight in. Bishop b4. Well, I'm not sure what they want to do here. Maybe they missed it, but I think I'm winning an exchange. Or maybe they didn't see how to get out of it, but I think I'm winning an exchange. And then I should be winning. Now I should note that after they take the exchange, my h3 pawn is hanging. So I need to guard that. Probably just like this. And now I'm also threatening rook c7, forking their queen and their b7 pawn. So I'm up on an exchange. So I have a pretty good position here. And they might be starting to crumble. Rook there. Don't see where their queen goes. That's super offensive to me. And I might be winning more material here. Still always have to be careful. A lot of my games lately I've been losing to just hilarious tactics. You always have to be worried until the game is over, basically. Just be paranoid. Alright, so they're getting their queen in. but my bishop is protecting that pawn. However, Karpov wouldn't really be fond of that, would he? I don't think he would like that very much. So, well, is it safe to do something else? Let me see here. Rook takes. I gotta move. That might be safe. Yeah, it's probably safe. I don't see how they're attacking my king that impressively yet. You just don't want to get greedy when they're going after your king and assume that nothing is happening. It's like Queen F3. I'll just take the queen. Most end games I should be pretty easily winning. But any attack, you have to be nervous. Like, even when you're up 3 points of material, it doesn't really comfort you very much as your king is being attacked. You're just like, okay, if my king gets out of this, then I'm going to win, most likely. But right now, I'm not assured at all. Especially with them bringing their bishop out. So bishop to d6, skewering my pawn. Or pinning my pawn a little bit. Okay. I wonder about bishop c7. I should move fast here. Bishop c7 immediately blunders f2. So let me just back my bishop up. I don't think I'm losing. Okay, they're playing well. Attacking my king. Okay. Be safe here, Sam. You're down in exchange, so I wonder if you should sack the exchange. So go and attack their bishop. And sack the exchange in some manner. That could be kind of smart here. Yeah, I wonder if I should sack the exchange here. Just to stop them from attacking me. Because I don't know if I'm handling the attack very well. And therefore I might have to do something funky here. Yeah, I might sack the exchange, which is okay. Because I'm up in exchange and a pawn. I might sack the rook for their knight or their bishop. Either one is cool. I don't care. Because my king is much more important than that rook. And I'm kind of scared. Alright, rook there. But now I can just take their bishop. And then I think I can check them with rook or queen to b8, hitting their rook and their king. I don't see too many options that protects both of them at the same time. Knight to e8 does that. It does protect and the king at the same time, but I can take the knight. So I'm going to check you here. And I think that should be game over. Always sack the exchange, said Ben Feingold. It's not bad advice. Don't be allergic to it. Don't always do it, because then you're going to lose a lot of games, but don't be allergic to sacrificing the exchange at all, especially if you're up material. Because I just wanted to do it, and then it just so happens that it wins a piece. But I think it was the best move. So, good game, Tristan. Good game. Whew, that was a pretty exciting game. So this game was pretty interesting. We got a Russian variation of the Grunfeld defense, and it kind of went how these games usually go. Black gets an early lead in development. We get kind of a funky position where White's got a big center but a really awkward queen, and White's got to catch up in development. Then I kind of caught up. I started liking my position, and then I kind of used my big center there and my two bishops to kind of just attack them pretty pretty mercilessly. Although I did get a little bit low on time, but I'm very happy with my time usage because I didn't even get into time trouble, and I played it, as far as I'm aware, all good moves. But let's look at the engine analysis here. Yeah, you guys see here my losing streak lost to 1800, 2100, 1800, 2100 due to poor openings and pretty amusing blunders. Let me show you guys this one. Here I'm winning. I have a checkmate in a few moves. I have to just play Queen G5 here. And I played here instead, just thinking I'm winning, and I'm, because I'm like, they have no checks, right? But now they have a check. Sometimes we forget to, analyze how the position is different once a move has been made. Now they have a check. Boom. And they actually are checkmating me. If I play Queen G5, still protecting my king and attacking them, I actually checkmate them. But here I got checkmated. So that game was funny. But in this game, I was checkmating. Yeah, +6 here in this position. That was a cool tactic. I didn't even see it. I didn't see that I was winning a piece, but I knew that the exchange had to be a good idea because it looked like they were swarming my king. Excuse me. And it looked like just a good move. Like, it just looked good. I mean, it's hard to say why. I think it's because I just saw how pretty compact my position was for the most part. I saw how Black would have to have a move or two in order to get their attack through. So I had time, I had a compact position, I had an extra pawn, and I saw that their king was open, and I saw that, their knight, their rook, their king is all kind of open. So let's look at the graph. Yeah, and it kind of bears out how I thought. We kind of get this normal Grunfeld opening. But maybe, it's slightly better for White because of the big center. Yeah, now maybe it's a little bit better for me because their knight is, I just think their position is, all things being equal, they just don't have a center. So I think my position is that much better. And that's, how strong having a center can be. Because, I think why I got the two bishops is because I have that center. Their bishop just has nowhere to go. So the center gives me the two bishops, and now I have a big center and two bishops. And it's like, it's hard. I mean, Black would have to be pretty concrete and pretty creative. Like, they would have to, I think they were, they started attacking, and I liked that. But I think, just from a objective standpoint, me having two bishops and a better center, it's showing +1 here. I think it'd be pretty hard for most players to come back from this if White plays it correctly. Yeah, they take, and this is what I mean. Like, it gets harder and harder to play as the game goes on. because now the position is simplifying. They lose their good knight. My queen is now open. I have a passed pawn, and bishops love open positions. I really liked this move. Just getting my queen useful. They made a flight square, but again, it's hard to decide what they should do. I'm a little bit slow as well, but I just wanted to play Karpovian. Yeah, now I hit him with that. Hit him with a skewer threat, and I think they just missed it. Or maybe they didn't know what to do. But that's, you just can't lose an exchange like that. Yeah, now they're hitting my pawn, but I can defend. Computer, I thought the computer might not love this, but what does the computer want me to do here? King here. Yeah, likes that better. I guess king to g2 is slightly more airy. My king is safer, but he's protecting his castle less. Doesn't matter that much. Bring their bishop back, but now I land the fork. Just make sure there's nothing I'm missing, because knights and queens and pawns are scarier on my king. Like, it's fortunate that I have my bishop, my queen, and my rook kind of in the vicinity, because I think if something, if another defensive component was missing in my camp, the knight, the pawn, and the queen could be pretty scary, with the bishop and other pawns able to assist in the future. But I take the pawn, which the computer does not love. Again, this is risky, but I'm still winning. So, hey, pawn's a pawn. Bishop comes out, but I'm not winning. I'm just winning now. So, like I said, this is why I kind of wanted to sacrifice the exchange, just to be really safe. I bring my bishop back, which is the best move, which is cool. They attack with their pawn. They're threatening h4, which is pretty scary for me. I don't want my position to open up by any means. And I can't play h4 myself, because that just immediately gets smacked with knight g4. Every pawn move that you make makes an irreparable weakness, and that's what they're hoping for. They want me to push pawns so that they can swarm me with their pieces. Your pawns are there actually to protect your king and to stay put, and then they move in select circumstances. But you know, it's kind of like you just want to not even touch him when you're being attacked. I bring my rook over, which the computer says is the best move. That's pretty cool, because I think maybe the computer wanted to sack the exchange as well, and they missed the exchange sack, which actually lands a fork. And the cool thing is, sometimes forks can be defended tactically. Like, this could work in some scenarios. Like, you can imagine maybe if the king was on f8, the king would be protecting the knight would be protecting the rook, and the knight would be getting the king and the rook out of the attack simultaneously. So that would be an awesome move, except for I can take it. So, good game, Tristan, your friend. Very instructive game, I felt. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. So, good stuff. I'll be back shortly for another video. I hope y'all gleaned some tactics from this, maybe some opening ideas in the Grunfeld, and just some ideas about big centers in general. This is why big centers and bishop pairs are so just chef's kiss to attacking players, to positional players, to everybody, because it's just an all-around good thing to have. Alright, see you guys next time. Peace.